Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to this Bhagavad Gita reading session, which we hold either Saturday or Sunday, and we are meeting for after a week basically because lots of work was there, lots of sevas were there, and today we are going to discuss verse number 28 of the chapter 3, the Karma Yoga. Right. So, one important announcement, before we proceed, that from this session onwards, we will just take one shloka at a time because I'm hardly getting any time to prepare, and there are a lot of services lined up, even on the personal front. Like a lot of pending tasks are there, so I have to strike a proper balance between the two. And most importantly, we have a new Instagram handle which is called Abhinava Gauranga. Okay, so for that also we need to prepare some good contents, and all these things are keeping me busy actually. So it's better also that we take it slow, verse by verse, and in that way it will be easier to digest also, right? So keeping that in mind, we have decided that we'll just take one verse at a time. Okay, and we'll see how it goes after that. Okay, all right, so moving forward, verse number 28 of the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita we have to see. Okay, the third chapter is the Karma Yoga, right? Beautiful verse again. Today we'll try to see what Srila Prabhupada is trying to explain in this verse, and yeah, we will just have a look. But before that, I would like to offer some pranam mantras, okay, to invoke auspiciousness. Those who know can repeat after me. Those who don't, just try to listen very intently because listening is also very, very purifying. Okay. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघते गिरि यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Okay, so verse number 28, third chapter. Okay, so in verse number 27, last verse, we saw that it was a very nice verse, one of the best verses of the Bhagavad Gita, and actually all the verses are very good. You cannot compare any two verses, but this particular verse, the last verse which we discussed, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. So I also suggested all of you to learn this verse by heart and try to imbibe this verse. Okay, try to execute this verse in your day-to-day life. Okay, whenever you are trying to carry out some activities, and if you are successful in that activity, or the things don't go according to you, just try to remind yourself through this verse that you have only made a desire. A spirit soul can only desire. Rest everything is controlled by the three modes of material nature, and that in turn depends upon the approval of the Paramatma or the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is sitting in your hearts. Okay, so we also saw that there were 5 factors which are responsible for any action that we carry out. Okay, to manifest any action, there are 5 factors, out of which the Paramatma, who is the ultimate sanctioner of that action, is the most important. Okay, if his sanction or his approval is not there for us to carry out that action, then no matter how hard we try, how much effort we put in, we are bound to fail. Okay, that action will never manifest. Okay, so it's a very important verse. Please, again, today also I am just requesting all of you to please try to learn that verse by heart and always keep reminding yourself about this. Okay, so in today's verse, verse number 28, okay, so in the previous verse Krishna spoke about people who are agya or ignorant people. Okay, how do they think? In this verse, Lord Sri Krishna is going to describe the knowledgeable person. Okay, so let's read the verse and we will see the explanation also, right? So before that, I'll share my screen. So verse number 28, chapter number 3 goes like this. तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते. तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते. Okay. So we will first see the translation and then we will see some of the important points and try to break down this verse. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the difference between work in devotion and work for fructive results. Very important verse again, a very, very important verse. Okay, we'll see how beautifully Srila Prabhupada has explained this and what are the things or takeaways we can have from this verse. Okay, first try to break down this verse, some important what to say points that we can take away. So first thing is, O Mahabaho. Okay, Lord Sri Krishna is actually addressing Arjun as Mahabaho, mighty armed one. Okay, Tattvavit. Okay, Tattvavit is means the person who is the knower of the absolute truth or a knowledgeable person. So in the previous verse we described or we discussed about the ignorant person, Agya. Okay, but in this verse we are going to discuss about the knowledgeable person, and such a person is also known as a Tattvavit. Okay, Guna Guneshu Vartanta na sajjate. Okay, so Guna Guneshu Vartanta na sajjate. This means that this person who knows the absolute truth does not engage. Does not engage in what? Okay, does not engage in Guna Guneshu. Okay, that means in senses and sense gratification. Okay, so such a person, a Tattvavit, does not engage in senses and sense gratification. And he is not attached. Okay, na sajjate. He is not attached anything. So how come he can do that? How come he is not attached to anything, right? So iti matva. Iti matva means he knows very well. He knows very well what? Guna karma vibhagayoho, right? That means he knows the difference between working in devotion and working for fructive results. Okay. So such a person who knows this difference, okay, that what is work done in devotion and what is the work done for own sense gratification, such a person is known as a knowledgeable person or a tattvavit. Okay. Now, the desire that we spoke about in the previous verse, okay, the desire of an ignorant person, okay, is always only one. That how can I do more sense gratification, right? Today I have this much, tomorrow I will have something more, so I can do better sense gratification with that. And this kind of attitude is there, in an ignorant person. But the desire of a tattvavid or a vidwan is also one, just one desire. And that desire is how can I give pleasure to Sri Krishna, right? Such a wonderful desire to have, isn't it? So, how can I serve Krishna better? This is how a Tattvavid thinks. Okay. The ignorant thinks that how can I do more sense gratification, but the Tattvavit is only concerned about giving more pleasure to Krishna, okay, through his services. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada has to say here. Okay. The knower of the absolute truth is convinced of his awkward position in the material association. Okay. So a Tattvavit or a knowledgeable person, okay, he knows that this place, this material world, actually is a filthy place. Okay, it's very filthy place, and he knows this very nicely. Okay, it's not a place to stay, and it's definitely for sure not a place to enjoy. Okay, so he understands his awkward position. Awkward position means that see, essentially we all are spirit souls. Okay, we are eternal part and parcels of Krishna. Quickly, I'll just try to explain, a little bit. So Krishna has three energies basically. Okay, when it comes to this entire creation, the spiritual world, material world, and the living entities. So there are basically three energies of Krishna. One is the internal energy. Okay, so internal energy of Krishna is responsible for the creation of the spiritual world, creation and maintenance of the spiritual world. Okay, and all the uh, jivatmas who are there in the spiritual world. Okay, so internal energy is responsible for that. External energy, or sometimes it is also known as the inferior energy, is responsible for the material creation. Okay, so what you see all around is the material creation. Okay, and all the jivatmas who are here, they are also in some material body, whether they are in a body of a human or a body of a demigod, body of an insect, an animal, whatever. Okay, but these are all material, right? So this is all controlled by the external energy of Krishna, or it is also known as the inferior energy of Krishna. And then there is a third type of energy which is known as the marginal energy or marginal potency. Okay, which is also superior in nature. Okay, but it is it has a certain degree of freedom. It comprises of all of us, which is the living entities, and it has a certain degree of freedom that whether they choose to serve Sri Krishna or they choose to serve the external energy of the Lord, which is also known as Maya. Okay, so if they choose to serve Maya, they are put into the material creation. Okay, material world. And if they choose to serve Sri Krishna, then they are in the spiritual world. Okay, enjoying eternally with Sri Krishna without the any of the miseries of life. No birth, death, disease, old age. It's not there. They are eternally blissful. Okay, but the spirit soul who is stuck in this material world. Okay, so and if that spirit soul is a tattvavit, if he is a knowledgeable person, okay, then he understands that my eternal nature is to be eternally blissful, right? My eternal nature is to be continuously in the association of Sri Krishna, enjoying his pastimes along with him in the spiritual world. But then, when he finds himself in this material world, he understands that this is not a place to stay. Okay, this is a filthy place, and my position is awkward. Why? Because somehow I have been stuck in this, material body which is there, and now it is being controlled by the three modes of material nature. Okay, so he understands that how he is stuck in the cycle of birth, death, lifetime after lifetime. Okay, transmigrating from one kind of material body to another, in one planetary system to another. Okay, so this cycle goes on and on. So a tattvavit or a knowledgeable person is fully cognizant of this fact. Okay, so going from one species to another, right? So he understands this and he feels that this is a very awkward place. He is in an awkward situation. Okay, so this is not his constitutional position basically, right? So and he does not feel that this place is a very nice place to stay. Obviously, when there are so many miseries, okay, Lord Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita has described this material world as dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Okay, that place which is full of miseries and a place which is non-permanent. Okay, temporary. Okay, so a tattvavit knows all this, and yeah, such a person is known as a knowledgeable person. Okay, that means he knows, and he knows what are the different levels of the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have seen that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be realized in three um, levels. Okay, one is the Brahman, which is the personal effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, or also known as the Brahma Jyoti. Okay, that is the basic level of realization. The next level is the Paramatma realization. Okay, that Paramatma is the localized form of Sri Krishna, which is present in everyone's heart of each and every living entity. So this is the next level of realization. And final, the third and the topmost level of realization, or the complete realization, is the God realization, the Bhagwan realization, right? That means Bhagwan realization is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is a person. Okay, he has an eternal body, blissful body, which is full of eternal body, which is full of bliss, knowledge. Okay, bliss and knowledge, which is also known as the Satchidananda Vigraha. Okay, and he stays in the Golok Vrindavan carrying out his eternal pastimes. Okay, so this is the ultimate knowledge or the Bhagwan realization. Okay, so a Tattvavit understands how the Bhagwan realization is the topmost realization, and all this knowledge he has, that this material world is not the right place to stay. He is in an awkward position. Okay, he understands the three levels of understanding of the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. He understands that the Bhagwan realization is the topmost realization. Okay, now what else he knows? Let's try to see from the purport. He knows in his pure state of existence, he is meant to dovetail all his activities in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Yes, very important point. When he knows Bhagwan, okay, when he knows who is Sri Krishna, he has Satchidananda Vigraha, okay, he understands that who is Bhagwan, then he also understands that everything comes from Bhagwan. Okay, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate, right? That everything in the material world or in the spiritual world comes from me. Okay, he is the ultimate cause of all causes. Okay, so everything is coming from him. So a Vidwan understands that when everything is coming from Sri Krishna, then we have to utilize all that is around us, okay, in the service of Sri Krishna. Okay. So every single activity in his day-to-day life, he dovetails them in the service of Krishna. Yes. And he dovetails them in such a way that it gives pleasure to Krishna. Okay, this is what Bhagwan Tattvavit understands. Okay, and he tries to follow this. Okay, and but along with all these, he knows many other things. Okay, what are those things? We'll see from the purport. Okay, he knows his real identity as part and parcel of the Supreme, who is eternal bliss and knowledge. And he realizes that somehow or the other he is entrapped in this material conception of life. Okay, so these two points are very, very important. Okay, he understands that he is stuck, as we saw earlier, that he understands that he's in awkward position. He's stuck in this material conception of life, stuck in this cycle of birth, death, and birth and death, and then he's transmigrating from one body to another, lifetime after lifetime, and this whole natak is going on. Okay, so he understands this, and he also understands that he's completely in Maya. Okay, he's fully aware of this fact. Okay, let's continue. He knows that this material condition of life is under the supreme control of the Lord. Okay, now this is again very important point. He knows that this material conception of life is under the supreme control of the Lord. Now, just try to compare with the ignorant person, which we had discussed in the previous verse. An ignorant person, okay, he was thinking that he is always independent. Okay, I mean, strong, independent person, self-sufficient person. That kind of mindset is of the people who have poor fund of knowledge, or who are less intelligent, or who are ignorant. Okay, the knowledgeable person clearly knows that everything in this world, including himself, okay, is under the complete control of the Supreme Lord. Okay, very important point to understand. Okay, so please don't be puffed up that you all are very independent. Okay, no one is independent here. Everything is under control of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Okay. Mm, He therefore engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness and becomes naturally unattached to the activities of material senses, which are circumstantial and temporary. Very nice. Again, very important point. Okay. So important point is he engages himself in Krishna consciousness. Okay, activities of Krishna consciousness. This is a very important point to understand. See, many times what happens that people who are practicing, bhakti, I mean, it's like the general understanding or the general concept is that okay, if someone is practicing bhakti, so it means that they have to be completely detached from everything around them. Okay, everything material which is around them. Okay, so yes, that is one aspect of bhakti. Okay, so detachment is definitely there, but that is not all about it. Okay, I mean there is more to it basically, right? Because detachment is one thing. Okay, but even more important thing is attachment to Sri Krishna. Okay, one has to understand this is a very very important point. Okay, and if someone gets attached to Sri Krishna and someone gets attached to the services, for Sri Krishna, okay, then automatically detachment will take place. This is a very important point to understand. You don't have to force anything on yourself. Okay, one shouldn't bother that okay, I have to give up this, oh, I have to give up that. No, that is not needed. Okay, don't try to push yourself in that way. Rather, try to attach yourself in the services of Krishna. Take up any seva in the center. Okay, and there are ways. And how can we do that? Somehow or the other, invite Sri Krishna in your heart. Okay, and invite him to your home. Okay, make sure that Sri Krishna is the center of everything. Whatever you do, you are doing for Sri Krishna. Okay, just focus on that. Okay, no need to focus on okay, I have to leave this, I have to quit that, and all sorts of things will automatically fall into place. Okay, we have to make sure that all our activities are centered around Krishna, and only if we can do this from our side, okay, all the rest of the things will fall into place. Okay, that is a tried and tested way. Okay, so this is what people can do. Okay, no need to force yourself into anything. Okay, this is the process of bhakti, right? A miraculous process of bhakti. Automatically attachment towards Krishna will take place, and automatically you will be detached from the material things actually. Okay, and last point, which is very very important again, is see, consequently he is not disturbed by all kinds of material reactions, which he considers to be the mercy of the Lord. Yes, so one thing is very clear in our day-to-day lives. Okay, when we when we read this purport, this clarity will come that see, life is not always a bed of roses. Yes, okay, it is never a linear straight line, right? Ups and downs will be there. It's always a sinusoidal wave. Okay, like this. So ups and downs in life will always be there. Okay, and whenever there are changes, whenever there are ups and downs in our lives, okay, people tend to get very bewildered because of that. Okay, um, very very bewildered. I have seen people even going into depression. Okay, they tend to become morose, they get frustrated, all because of some changes or some ups and downs that they have to face in life. Okay, but a tattvavit or a knowledgeable person, okay, he understands, okay, that things may not be under my control, but everything is under the perfect control of Sri Krishna, right? This understanding is very clear to a knowledgeable person. So when he starts serving the Lord, he understands all this. Okay, all this is revealed to him. Okay, from within. Actually, Krishna is seated as Paramatma in our hearts. So when someone reaches this point of becoming a tattvavit, a knowledgeable person who understands what is the difference between working for Krishna and what is the difference between working for yourself for sense gratification. Okay, when you understand that out of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, the Bhagwan realization is ultimate. Okay, when you try to understand that okay, whatever ups and downs are happening in my life, I may not be in control right now, but Krishna is in the perfect control of everything. Okay, so then automatically, these things are revealed to you from within, basically, right? So when he starts serving the Lord, he understands all these things. Okay, so Krishna reveals these things to him, and in such a person knows perfectly well that Sri Krishna has the best plan for me. Okay, he has full confidence in that. That okay, even though seemingly things right now are not happening as per my expectations, but this is the best plan for me because Krishna is my eternal parent. He knows what is best for me. Okay. And as a parent, a parent will never want a child to go through any negative aspects of life. Okay. He or she will always want that the children are very happy. Correct. So similarly, Krishna also wants, he being the eternal parent, Krishna also wants us to be very happy, and he wants us to attain the ultimate destination. Krishna is also fully aware that this fellow, this particular Jivatma, okay, he's stuck in this material conception of life, okay, which is very awkward for this person, okay. So let me bring him back to me, okay, so that he can come back to me, come back to the spiritual world, and enjoy eternally with me. Okay, this is what Krishna thinks. Okay, most of the times when we see a picture of Krishna or Lord Vishnu, okay, we will see that okay, Lord Vishnu is just lying on the serpent bed, okay, meditating, and Krishna is also playing the flute, and as if he is completely engrossed. So what is Krishna meditating upon? He is the supreme personality of Godhead. If I have to meditate upon something, I will meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, but he is all ultimate supreme. Whom is he meditating upon? Krishna's meditation is only one. Okay, that what can I do for this spirit soul so that he or she can come back to me? Yes, this is how loving and caring Krishna is. Okay, so he will always want us to attain the ultimate destination, being our eternal parent. So if we want that, so sorry, so if we see that things are not going perfectly well in our lives, if we are getting slaps in our lives, right? Rest assured that it is for our own ultimate benefit. Okay, this is how a Tattvavit thinks. This is how a knowledgeable person thinks. That okay, things seemingly may not be going as per my expectations right now, but this is what Krishna's plan is, and his plan is always the best. Okay, so this is what a knowledgeable person thinks. Okay, and a knowledgeable person who understands, okay, that all this we discussed right now, okay, who understands all this will always remain undisturbed in any situation of life. Okay, so we saw that life is a sinusoidal wave, ups and downs will be there, but general people who are non-devotees or who are very materialistic people, materially attached to certain things, okay, karma kandis, okay, they will be very bewildered even with slightest change in their lives. If there is something good, they will reacting, going overboard and reacting like anything. Okay, if there is something bad, they will become morose, they will become depressed. Okay, so they'll become bewildered essentially in any ups and downs. But a Tattvavit or a knowledgeable person will always remain calm because he understands everything, right? We have seen that he understands so many things, and that knowledge is revealed to him by none other than Sri Krishna himself, who is seated as Paramatma in the heart. So such a person is completely undisturbed in any situation of life. Okay. Now the question is, how do we get this understanding that Sri Krishna is our eternal parent? Okay. How do we get that love for Sri Krishna? Okay, and then how to be fully dependent of Krishna and not be bewildered by the changing situations of life. Okay, so these are the questions which anyone can ask, and the answer is only one. Okay, in this age of Kali Yuga, there is only one process, and that is the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what happens? We start developing love for Sri Krishna. That is the very important thing. First and most important aspect. We start developing that love for Sri Krishna. When we start developing the love for Sri Krishna, our devotion towards him will be uncontaminated. Okay, we will not be worshipping Krishna, we will not be thinking about Krishna, we will not be talking about his names, forms, qualities and pastimes just in order to get something in return. Okay, we just will be doing all these things out of pure love, sheer love for the supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Okay, so that is the most important thing that we get by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Second, we start developing the dependence on the Lord. As I said that Tattvavit or a knowledgeable person, the how does he think? He thinks that okay, things may not be in control for me right now, but things are always in perfect control of Sri Krishna. Everything is in perfect control of Sri Krishna. And if I'm going through this, it is Krishna's plan, and this plan is best for me. Such kind of thinking, such kind of mindset will start coming when we start chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly. Okay? So anyone who is interested in coming to this platform of complete dependence to the Lord, okay, like a child who is completely dependent on parent, yes, then that person should take this process of bhakti very, very seriously. Okay, there is no other way. Every single day we should make sure, okay, we should make sure that we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra fixed number of rounds. Okay, set a target for yourself that okay, I depending upon your schedule, that okay, I can chant 2 rounds, I can chant 4 rounds, 8 rounds. Some people chant 16 rounds, some people chant even more than that, right? So depending upon what your situation is, just take a vrata. Okay, give a promise to yourself that okay, from this day onwards I'll be chanting these many rounds, and under any circumstances whatsoever, something good happens in your life, something bad happens in your life, please chant those fixed number of rounds which you have promised to yourself. Okay, if you have promised to chant 4 rounds, make sure that you chant 4 rounds every day, come what may. Okay, this is how you can invoke that love for Sri Krishna. Okay, without this we cannot develop love for Sri Krishna. That is guaranteed. Right? So we have to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Please start chanting. Those who are not chanting, please start chanting. See, it hardly takes 7 minutes or 7.5 minutes maximum for a beginner, to chant 1 round, one mala of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Okay, one mala or 1 round has 108 beads. Okay, so essentially you are chanting names of Sri Krishna 108 times. You are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 108 times. And this for a beginner takes around 7 to 7.5 minutes. Are we so busy that we cannot devote 7.5 minutes for Sri Krishna who has given us everything? Okay. How can we be so selfish? Just ask this to yourself, right? How can we be so selfish? Right? And I think easily everyone can chant 2 rounds, at least 2 rounds. 15 minutes is not that big a deal. Okay. An average person in India, I have done some research work, and I found that they are spending around 2.5 to 3 hours every day on social media, right? तो यार उस 2-3 घंटे में से कम 15 मिनट तो भगवान को दे दो, right? What is so difficult about it? We are not asking you for anything more, right? If you can give more, nothing better than that, right? You will be an exalted devotee, right? If you continue to do that for a certain period of time, right? But at least 2 rounds, 15 minutes, it's not a big ask, right? So we have to make sure that. Okay. So now we will describe uh, how a Vidwan or a Tattvavit should deal with an ignorant person or a Vimudhatma. Okay. So in this chapter, Krishna beautifully described who is an ignorant person. Okay. In the previous verse, we saw that who is an ignorant person or an Agya. And in this verse, we saw who is a Vidwan or a Tattvavit. Okay. Now he will describe that how this Vidwan or a Tattvavit should deal with an ignorant person or a Vimudhatma. Okay. How his behavior should be to help the Agya or to help that Vimudhatma. Okay. This will be described very clearly in the next verse. Okay. So we'll see that in the next lecture. Thank you so much for joining. We'll meet next week. Till then, Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy.